If you're fishing high pressured public ponds and just casting around hoping to catch bass, you're doing it wrong. In pressured public ponds, you have to fish with purpose. After 35 years of fishing public ponds, I'm going to show you exactly where bass live in the winter, pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn, summer, and fall. So every cast you make, there's a reason behind it. We're fishing with purpose. Yes, sir. Getting it done all day long, son. Yes, sir. Here's a picture of the pond that I typically fish. It's a pretty decent sized pond. I've used this pond before in other videos. And, you know, I fish about 7 or 8 spots on this pond, but you have to fish with purpose. And when you're fishing with purpose, each season, each time of the year, bass are located differently or in different spots of the pond. And let's just go through it. In the wintertime, as you can see, in the wintertime, they're out deep. I'm not casting banks. I'm not fishing. I'm not wasting my time. Again, I'm fishing with purpose. And when you fish with purpose, in the wintertime, the bass are out deep. They're in the deepest part of the pond. And the 5 to 8 spots that I fish are all areas that I could reach that deepest part. Those big females are down deep, and they're not going to move until the temperature in that pond starts to warm up. And when that temperature starts to warm up in the pond, they just don't move from the deep pockets and move straight up to the bank. What they end up doing, when that water temperature warms, they're going to start to stage. They're getting ready for that spawn. They're starting to eat more, but they don't move in from that deep pocket and move straight up. They go into staging areas. And typically that staging area is in a typical pond. Again, depends on type of pond that you're fishing or the size of your pond that you're fishing, these public ponds. They're going to be somewhere between 15 and 20 feet, even 30 feet off bank. They're looking for some type of structure. They're looking for drop-offs, places that they can start to move from the deep to a little bit closer to that shore. They're going to stay there. They're going to hold there until that temperature starts to even increase more. They're feeding. Those bait fish haven't moved up to the bank yet. So they're following those bait fish. They're feeding on those bait fish, and they're getting ready to spawn. They're eating heavy. This is a great opportunity to really catch some big females. Yes, sir. All day long, son. Biggin after biggin. It's really probably one of the best opportunities to catch some of those big females. Again, they feed heavy. They're feeding on those bait fish, and they're ready to go. When that water temperature warms up and they start to spawn, they all don't move in at the same time. The spawn could happen over a 2-week period, even a 3-week period. Some bass might move up quicker. Some bass will stage later. It happens over a period of time. Usually the majority of the spawn happens around a full moon. But as you can see in this picture, when those bass start to move in, you'll still have some other bass that are still in that staging process. It's a great opportunity to catch bass on bed, but it's also still a great opportunity to still catch those bass that are still staged. When those bass move in and you start to see a couple spawning, you have to be able to target the shallow, and you also don't forget, just because you see a couple spawning, don't forget that you have a population of those female bass still in that staging situation. Again, you want to work around those beds, and you also want to work, like I said, anywhere from 15, 20, 30 feet off the bank, and those stages, those drop-offs. Those bass are ready to move. Post-spawn. Now this is the time that, you know, they spawned, they're tired, you had the males protecting the fry. Then right after the spawn of the bass comes the bluegill spawn. And a lot of those females will still stay close to shore. They all don't move out into the deeps or the depths. So what you get is you get a lot of those male bass still staying tight to the shore. A lot of those female bass will be waiting for that bluegill spawn. It's easy eating. You see it all the time. If you ever seen a bluegill spawn, bass is chasing all day long. I mean, you get big groups of bluegill. I mean, when a bluegill spawn, I mean, there's schools of them. Those bass are right behind it. Again, a great opportunity to catch some of those big females after the spawn. Some of those bass that spawn, those female bass that have spawned, will just automatically just move out into the deep water. They're getting ready for this summertime. They're done spawning. They're done close to that bank. Now they're going to move out. Again, when you get into the post-spawn, this is a time of the year you really have to fish the whole pond. The way you want to know if you missed a whole spawn, you were out fishing, you didn't see it, but yet you see bluegill spawning and big schools of bluegill, you know it's post-spawn. The bass finished spawning. This is the time of the year that you can fish the whole pond. You have to fish the whole pond. Again, you're fishing with purpose, right? Every cast counts, right? So this is where I'm going down banks. I'm going out deep. I'm fishing the whole pond. As the temperature rises and it starts to get warm, we start to move into that summer phase. When we move into that summer phase, majority of those female bass are out. We're gonna go move out back deep. Again, we're fishing with purpose. Now, somebody might say, hey, getting it done fishing, I had a lot of success around the bank, and I catch a lot of bass. And there's no doubt about it. Majority of those bass are the males, the smaller males. If you want to catch the bigger bass, the bigger females, you got to go out deep in the summertime. It's hot, it's humid, those bass are looking for cooler water. Those big females are out deep, and that's what you have to fish. Now, while I fish down the bank, I might throw one or two, I might make a couple casts, but majority of my casts are out deep. Again, I'm fishing with purpose. Every cast matters. That's my mindset. My mindset is when I go fishing, bass fishing, you have to know where the bass are. You have to know what stage you are in. If I know what stage I'm in, I can make every single cast. I'm fishing with purpose. The one thing about summer, just depends on the pond. I'll give you a caveat to this. If your pond has a lot of grass or cattails, you will get some of those big females pushed up into the shore. And again, if you have cattails, I always give a rule of thumb. If I have cattails like lily pads, I'm definitely gonna make some casts there. It's a great opportunity to catch those big female that never moved out deep. Not all females will move out deep. Majority of them will. If I have a pond that doesn't have vegetation or cattails or grass by the shore, I'm not fishing the shorelines. I'm concentrating on going out deep. It's all about knowing the pond that you're fishing, what's underneath that water. So that's what we want to concentrate in the summertime. We want to be fishing out deep, fishing with purpose, getting down to that bottom, keeping it natural, getting it done all day long, son. Yes, sir. As we move from the summer to the fall, those bass are going to start to move up again. When we get into the fall and the pond starts to cool and the nights get cooler, the temperature starts to go down, those bass are going to move up. This is another great opportunity to fish the whole pond. Not all bass, just like to spawn, not all bass are going to move at the same time up to the bank in the fall time. You're going to have bass still out deep. You're going to have them shallow. You're going to have them all over the place. Again, there's only 2 times of the year that I'm really fishing the whole pond. I'm fishing with purpose. In the fall time, I'm definitely going to do more casts down the bank because, again, bass are going to move up. They're chasing those bait fish. They're going to feed heavily before the winter time. And when that happens, I want to fish the whole pond. I want to fish out deep. I want to fish on the bank, especially if I have like cattails or lily pads or any type of structure. Those bass are going to be moved up. I can tell you a story. Last year I was fishing. For me, it was pretty cold. It was like 45 degrees out, and I caught a huge bass, and that thing was pushed so far up to the bank. I actually cast a little small 11-gram bladed swim jig, gets it done all day long, and I threw it up against the bank, and I popped it into the water, and my first turn on that, boom, it's a big one. So those bass have a tendency, those big female bass, have a tendency more than the small males to stay closer to that bank longer in the fall. And that's important because you want to fish the whole pond. Post-spawn and fall are the time of the year that you want to be fishing the whole pond. So it's very important that you have a progression of your cast. Then after fall, it gets cold, the bass will go back to a winter pattern and they'll move all back deep, and they'll be holding there until that temperature and that pond starts to warm up. The key to be successful, I want to go back to the summertime. The key to being successful in these high pressured public ponds is really knowing where the bass are. Most people just go out there just to make casts. They just cast. They don't even know. They're just casting and hoping. When you know where the bass are, and you know where majority of the bass are living at the time of the year that you're fishing, it makes things easier. Don't be that person that you just cast all over the place. Know the season that you're in. I went through it. Now you know where the bass are. Now you can focus on those areas and you're going to be more successful. Now you know where the bass are in pressured public ponds all year long. So the next time you're out in the water, don't just cast with purpose. Drop a comment down below. What season do you struggle the most when it comes to finding bass? Let's help each other get it done. Yes, sir. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the notification. If you're already a subscriber, I greatly appreciate all the support. I really do. Don't forget to check out the links down below. Got the merch store, got the memberships. It's all down there. Go check it out. Really helps grow the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. And I'll catch you next time on Getting It Done Fishing.